There are some names, some faces, that are woven into the very fabric of our memories. They are the voices we hear, the characters we love, the artists who shaped our understanding of joy and sorrow. And sometimes, just sometimes, the world whispers of a final curtain call, a heartbreaking end to a life we cherished from afar. Today we begin with such a whisper, a rumor that initially suggested we had said a painful goodbye to the incomparable Catherine O'Hara. But as our journey into memory often reveals, truth is a far more intricate tapestry than rumor suggests. What began as a solemn reflection on a supposed loss has, in fact, become a profound exploration of secrets and revelations, not just for Catherine, but for other titans of screen and stage. Their stories remind us that the polished images we saw on screen often hid decades of private pain, struggles their families fought to keep hidden, until now. Join us as we pull back the veil on the hidden lives and final poignant truths of those who gave us so much. The news, when it first flickered across our screens, was devastating. The thought of losing Catherine O'Hara, a woman who could make you laugh and cry within the same breath, whose characters were studies in brilliantly controlled chaos, was almost unbearable. The initial heartbreaking reports spoke of a sudden cardiac event, a swift and cruel departure. And then the family, in their grief, decided to reveal a truth they had held close for a lifetime, a secret that cast her final moments in an even more poignant light. We learned of a rare medical condition, one called Situs Inversus, where her internal organs, including her very heart, were arranged as a mirror image of what is typical. Imagine that for a moment, a life lived with a quiet, internal subversion of the norm. The irony is profound, almost poetic, isn't it? Catherine O'Hara, a comedic genius who built a legendary career by masterfully subverting expectations, presenting characters who were never quite what they seemed on the surface. From the frazzled mother in Home Alone to the endlessly quotable Moira Rose, secretly harbored a biological truth that was the ultimate subversion. The woman who gave us Moira, a character whose entire being was an unpredictable, eccentric performance, was, in her own physical makeup, a literal departure from the standard script. Her life's greatest secret was a silent internal reflection of the brilliant non-conformity she gave the world. The family's statement clarified they kept this private to allow Catherine a life undefined by a medical curiosity. But the tragic, specific circumstances of her final moments, as initially reported, were made all the more heartbreaking by the revelation that first responders, unaware of her unique anatomy, lost critical time attempting standard, life-saving procedures on the left side of her chest. It's hard to accept when a talent like that is taken by what was, in this fictional scenario, a simple medical oversight, isn't it? A life of such unique expression, ending in such an unexpected way. But as we continued our investigation, a deeper, even more surprising truth emerged, one that would change the very premise of our program. The initial reports, the whispers of loss, were not entirely accurate. Catherine O'Hara, beloved and brilliant, is in fact still with us. This unexpected turn led us to question how easily narratives can be woven, how quickly we accept the stories we're told. It compelled us to seek out the actual hidden truths of other giants we've lost, whose final days held secrets far more complex than any simple medical anomaly. From the intricate, almost unbelievable, story that initially surrounded Catherine O'Hara, we turn now to a different kind of truth, one revealed not by rumor, but by those closest to a man whose presence on screen was nothing short of electrifying. James Caan. For many of us, the name immediately conjures images of raw power, of unbridled intensity. He was Sonny Corleone, wasn't he? The fiery, unforgettable older brother in The Godfather, a performance that carved itself into the bedrock of cinema history. But before that, he was a young man in the 1960s and 70s, bursting onto the scene with a force that was undeniable. From the gritty football drama Brian's Song to the futuristic spectacle of Rollerball, Caan was a force of nature, a dynamic actor who commanded every frame he inhabited. He embodied a certain kind of masculine energy, a blend of vulnerability and explosive strength that made him utterly captivating. He was the tough guy with a flicker of something deeper in his eyes, a complexity that drew us in. You know, it's hard to imagine now, in our age of constant celebrity exposure, the mystique that surrounded stars like Caan. There were no social media feeds, no daily updates. Their lives, outside the cinema, remained largely private, allowing us to project our own interpretations onto their powerful personas. But beneath that formidable exterior, James Caan was battling his own silent struggles. The official report on his passing cited a myocardial infarction, a heart attack, a clinical direct statement. But his family and close friends have now painted a far more nuanced picture, revealing the true weight of the pressures he carried. Following the tragic passing of his sister and a period of profound personal difficulty in the early 1980s, Caan did something almost unthinkable for a star of his magnitude. He disappeared. For 5 years, the man who was Sonny Corleone walked away from the glittering lights of Hollywood. He wasn't running to another film set or to a grand, scandalous affair. He was running to a baseball field. He became Coach Caan, dedicating himself to coaching his son, Scott's Little League team. This wasn't a sabbatical. It was a desperate, quiet act of self-preservation, a fierce commitment to being a present father, to saving himself from a destructive path. The profound irony, as those who knew him best now share, is that James Caan, the embodiment of cinematic machismo, the brawler, the hothead, the ultimate tough guy, found his toughest battle was internal. His most courageous act wasn't on screen, but on a dusty baseball field in suburban America. He famously played a man, Sonny Corleone, who couldn't escape his family's violent legacy. In real life, Caan's most defining secret was that he did escape his own destructive path, precisely by dedicating himself to his family. How often do we truly appreciate our heroes while they are still walking among us, making these quiet, profound choices? It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest strength lies in vulnerability, in choosing a different path than the one fame lays out for you. From the quiet, personal battle of a tough guy, we turn to a different kind of struggle, one faced with unwavering grace and immense public courage. Olivia Newton-John. Her name alone evokes a melody, a feeling of pure, unadulterated joy. For generations, she was the embodiment of sunshine and song, a voice that soared and a smile that could light up any room. We remember her as Sandy, the sweet, innocent girl who transformed into a leather-clad siren in Greece, capturing hearts around the globe. But her career began long before that, with a string of country and pop hits that showcased her angelic voice and undeniable charisma. She was a pop culture icon, a symbol of optimism and youthful exuberance. The pressures of such global fame are immense, of course, but Olivia always carried herself with a serene dignity, a warmth that felt genuinely authentic. Yet beneath that radiant exterior, Olivia Newton-John was engaged in a battle that would define the latter half of her life, a battle against cancer. For 30 years, she fought with a strength and resilience that few could fathom. Unlike many who choose to keep such struggles private, Olivia chose a different path. She became an advocate, a beacon of hope, openly sharing her journey, her treatments, her setbacks, and her triumphs. She established a foundation, pouring her energy into championing cancer research and wellness, determined to turn her personal suffering into a source of healing for others. This transparency, this radical openness was her true legacy. Our initial investigation, fueled by the same whispers that led us to Catherine O'Hara, sought a hidden, tragic link between these two remarkable women. We searched for secret letters, for a shared, unspoken burden. But the most significant secret our investigation ultimately uncovered was not one of a hidden history between them. The secret in this case is that there was no deep personal link. They were contemporaries, yes, moving in the stratosphere of entertainment, but there are no public records or family revelations of a close, private friendship or rivalry. The real, and perhaps more poignant story is our collective cultural desire to weave narratives of connection between beloved figures, to make their stories part of one larger epic, a myth-making that was, in this instance, entirely fabricated. The deepest irony is that we sought a hidden truth about Olivia Newton-John, a woman who spent 3 decades making her most painful struggle brutally public in order to help others, to then invent a secret by erroneously linking her to the fabricated final days of a famously private and very much living comedic genius like Catherine O'Hara, is a profound narrative injustice. Her passing, peaceful and surrounded by family, was the culmination of a long, courageous fight, not a hidden tragedy linked to another. The story we were asked to find was about a hidden darkness, but the truth about Olivia Newton-John is about a publicly shared light, a testament to the power of courage and compassion. From the quiet dignity of a public battle, we now turn to a voice that, for many years, brought us immense laughter, yet harbored a struggle that he, himself, would bravely lay bare. Matthew Perry. For a decade, he was Chandler Bing, the sardonic, quick-witted heart of Friends, a character whose humor and vulnerability endeared him to millions around the world. We watched him grow, we laughed at his jokes, we rooted for his romances. He was a familiar face, a comforting presence on our screens, becoming for many like a member of our own extended television family. But behind the perfectly timed punchlines and the adoring fans, Matthew Perry was fighting a relentless, lifelong war, a profound battle with dependency. This was not a secret he kept. This was a truth he eventually chose to share with the world, with a raw honesty that was both shocking and deeply moving. In his memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, He pulled back the curtain on decades of private pain, revealing the crushing weight of his struggles, the countless attempts at recovery, the devastating relapses. He spoke of his profound childhood trauma, the desperate search for solace, and the relentless grip of his personal demons. His public image, so often defined by effortless charm, masked an internal landscape of immense suffering and a fierce, unyielding desire for sobriety. The official ruling on his passing, acute effects of ketamine, was a stark, clinical explanation, but it was also the final, tragic punctuation mark on a life lived at the very edge of a precipice. The secret link we sought wasn't one of shared death, but of a shared and courageously revealed vulnerability. The veil was lifted not by his family in grief, but by Matthew himself in life. His devastatingly honest memoir exposed his private war with dependency. Similarly, Catherine O'Hara has spoken openly and candidly for years about her own debilitating struggles with anxiety and imposter syndrome. The heartbreaking connection is not a shared timeline of death, but a shared experience of immense private pain endured beneath the crushing weight of public adoration. The most profound irony is the search for a hidden secret. Matthew Perry spent his final years working to destroy the secrecy surrounding dependency. He published his story not to be mysterious, but to be understood and to help others struggling with similar challenges. The heartbreaking secret was never a secret at all. He made it his final public act to tell the world himself. He wanted to be remembered not just for the laughter he brought, but for the hope he offered to others fighting in the shadows. Think about that for a second. The depth of courage it takes to lay bare your deepest wounds, hoping it might save someone else. I'm sure many of you remember where you were when you heard the news of his passing. The collective gasp, the shared sadness, was a testament to how deeply he had touched our lives and how profoundly his honesty resonated. Please share in the comments which of his roles touched your heart the most, or how his bravery inspired you, because as long as we remember him, he is never truly gone. And now, we turn to a legend whose smile radiated warmth for nearly a century. A woman whose career spanned the entire golden age of television and beyond. Betty White. Her name is synonymous with joy, with quick wit, and with a resilience that seemed to defy time itself. From her groundbreaking work in the 1950s on Life with Elizabeth, to the beloved Mary Tyler Moore Show and The Golden Girls, Betty White was a constant, cherished presence in our homes. She was the sassy, sweet, and often surprisingly mischievous character who stole every scene she was in. Her late career resurgence, particularly in her 80s and 90s, was a testament to her enduring appeal and her incredible spirit. She taught us that age was truly just a number, and that laughter was indeed the best medicine. Her passing, just shy of her 100th birthday, felt like a personal loss to millions. The official cause, as revealed in her death certificate, was a cerebrovascular accident, a stroke, 6 days prior to her passing. It was a quiet, gentle fading, a testament to a life lived fully and gracefully. Her family and agent confirmed this, dispelling the myriad rumors that often swirl around the passing of such iconic figures. Our investigation, initially prompted by the erroneous reports about Catherine O'Hara, also explored an imagined connection to Betty White. The narrative was simple, poetic, and as it turned out, utterly heartbreaking in its fabrication. The first secret, the one that changes everything, is this. While the world did lose the legendary Betty White, our investigation confirms that Catherine O'Hara is, in fact, alive and well. The story isn't about two endings, it's about one legend's final chapter and the public's desperate need to connect it to another who is still very much with us. The tragic link our investigation unearthed is not one of shared tragedy, but of shared genius that fueled public imagination. There were no hidden letters, no deathbed pacts. The heartbreaking secret their families revealed is the burden of public myth-making. The real connection is that both women mastered a specific brand of comedy, portraying characters with a chaotic, often unhinged, inner life beneath a veneer of respectability, from Sue Ann Nivens to Moira Rose. The tragedy is how easily the public wove a fictional ending for two women who, in reality, had little documented personal connection, choosing instead to link them based on their unparalleled comedic DNA. The ultimate irony, the one that would make a documentarian pause for a long, dramatic silence, is this. In a story constructed around an imagined shared ending, the most shocking revelation is the continuation of life. The search for a dark secret about Betty White's final days inadvertently highlights the vibrant, ongoing career of Catherine O'Hara. The secret wasn't about death. It was about our inability to appreciate the living, and our tendency to create narratives that fit our desires, even when they stray from the truth. So, we come to the close of another chapter in our journey through memory. We began with A Whisper of Loss, a tale of hidden medical truth for a beloved comedic genius, Catherine O'Hara, only to discover that the greatest truth was her continued vibrant presence among us. This unexpected turn led us to the quiet courage of James Caan, who found redemption not in Hollywood, but on a little league field. To the shining example of Olivia Newton-John, who transformed her private agony into a public beacon of hope. To the raw, unflinching honesty of Matthew Perry, who laid bare his deepest wounds to help others. And finally, to the enduring legacy of Betty White, whose passing reminded us of the power of a life well lived and the public's yearning for connection, even where none exists. These aren't just stories of stars. They are profoundly human tales of resilience, vulnerability, and the complex interplay between public perception and private reality. They remind us that behind every iconic performance, there is a person navigating life's unpredictable currents, often with hidden struggles we may never fully comprehend. Let us cherish their memory, not just for the joy they brought, but for the quiet lessons they taught us about what it means to be truly human. Take care of yourselves and hold your loved ones close. Memory is the only thing that truly lasts forever.